I like to think that those of us who have been through that kind of experience have an obligation to our society to continue speaking out and actually invoking those particular fires and those particular spirits of injustice. Because in order to live up to our ideals, we are the ones who should be at the vanguard of that fight. People that can actually see very clearly what's wrong and what happens when you do this to people are the ones who should be the leaders. We should be out there first, speaking out against the oppression. And there's enough to speak out against today. There's certainly, pick your cause. They're all over the place. I mean, that's the one thing I will say is I'm sort of grateful for being trans at a time when the tyrants don't like me, because they don't like a whole bunch of people that I'm already in solidarity with. I'm already in solidarity with Muslims, already in solidarity with black people, with women, with their right to an abortion. All those sorts of things, the things that they're going after, are things that I was already in that fight. So naturally, throw me in there too. I belong there. If you're hating on the people that I care about and the people that I'm defending, then I should be in there too. So the fact that they want to keep trans people out of the military and want to keep us whatever, I mean, they want to keep us out of bathrooms, everything else. It is a typical tactic of the right wing. It is part of the Third Reich playbook that the Republicans are following to try to gain power by sort of empowering their white supremacist base. And I do think the rest of us do have to stand up and say something. If we sit complacently by, then we're just exactly like the Germans in 1933, that you're going to let your government fall into the hands of these evil vermin, then you deserve what you get. But I'd rather go down fighting, personally. I mean, that was always been my philosophy about this whole thing. Maybe it'll happen, and maybe I'm just one little voice, one little person, but I'm going to keep fighting. I mean, I've had friends of mine tell me, I had a friend of mine, very close friend, say, my friends think you're pathetic because you just like tilting at windmills. You're always yelling and protesting and objecting, and you make no difference at all. And I said, something? Maybe that's true, but I'm not going to stop making a ruckus because I still believe that if that's the only thing I can do, then that's what I'm going to do. Maybe it makes no difference at all. I don't care. I know what I need to do. I know what I believe in. I know what I'm trying to do. And all I am trying to do is live up to my ideals. And I'm lucky. I'm grateful. I have a job. I have a community. I have a connections to a community that I can help and I can march with and I can protest with and I can speak on behalf of. I am fortunate. It's the right person with the right job, the right opportunity, the right activist connections, and it should be me. And all the stuff that's raining down on Muslims, women, black people, and transgender people, come to me. I'm the right person for them to mess with because I'm strong enough to face it, and I got the words to respond to it. And that's something that my legal training, of course my experience, has provided me and empowered me with the ability to do that. And so I should be the person. So they should be talking to me. If anything, I need to be right there. And if for nothing else, it's because of my legacy. I want people to know that I'm in solidarity with these people that they're attacking, that I'm one of them, that I'm a transgender woman and I'm a militant transgender woman about our right to life, to a life without fear and without the constant threat of violence, aggression, and murder. I am in solidarity with my black sisters who are being attacked and who are being targeted on the streets. I try to keep that as high a profile as possible. I realize my privilege is Asian privilege, that I'm not being targeted like black people. But I also realize very acutely that black people are the reason why I have anything today, because all of the advances in the civil rights movement that I have enjoyed as a Japanese American person, as a woman, as a transgender woman, are the result of the struggle for black liberation. And I believe that my father, as well as a whole lot of other people, would be a part of Black Lives Matter today if they were alive. And I certainly would be, I am proud to be a part of that today as I am. I always go wherever I go, and I'm saying this for the benefit of this camera as an intersectional trans woman, that Black Lives Matter. And I hear this stuff about all lives matter and blue lives matter and all that other bullshit. And I'm telling you right now that all lives will not matter until Black Lives Matter. And this struggle that we've ridden to benefits on is not over, and that it is not finished business, and that all of us who have benefited from this movement, and I talk about every single one of us, and that includes Muslim people and women and other minorities, we are there because of the struggles and the sacrifices of black people and the black liberation movement. And I want to make sure that nobody forgets that we got this fight still ahead of us. And that fight is our fight. For all of us who have benefited from this movement, for all of us who have been part of this movement from the very beginning, that it's not over. And we have to keep fighting for black people, and we have to keep fighting for Black Lives Matter, because they are struggling for recognition and acceptance. And it has to be a part of this movement. As long as the inequality still exists, as long as the oppression, the exclusion, and the victimization of black people continues, the rest of us cannot stay complacent. We should not remain silent. We have to join with them, get out on the streets with them, advocate in the press for them, and we have to advocate in our communities for them. In the Asian American community, the Japanese American community, never forget who the people were who helped us get to where we are today. My father belonged to the NAACP for a reason that I now understand today much better than I understood when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I now see what he saw, which is this struggle that has benefited all of us, has not benefited that community sufficiently. That battle is not over, not even close to being over. The discrimination that exists against black people, the violence that's being inflicted against them. And when I think about my intersectional identity, I think about being a trans woman of color, not just a trans woman of Asian American descent, but a trans woman of color with a much larger constituency. There are black and brown women, my sisters, who are being murdered systematically, epidemically, all across this country, all around the world. And I have to stand up and I have to keep saying that that is something that I will continue to advocate till the day I die, maybe when they get me. But I'm not going to stop advocating for people who are in the crosshairs, who are being targeted by bigots and racists and all the individuals who can't seem to tolerate our existence on this earth. I will continue to fight that battle. I consider every single opportunity I get, including this one, an opportunity to speak my mind with respect to this issue, because if I've learned nothing in my 76 years, I've learned that the oppression of any one community is resonant to all of us, and it is all of our responsibility to stand up and say something about. It can't be something we can turn away from and say, well, you know something, this doesn't really affect my little community.